Cape Cod Community College welcomes students that are displaced by the closing of ITT Technical Institute. And we get an update on the start of the school year with Superintendent of Schools Meg Mayo-Brown on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Monday, September 12th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mannell. ITT Tech closes campuses nationwide after the U.S. Department of Education bans the school from accepting students that receive federal financial aid. That closure leaves many students trying to figure out their next step. Cape Cod Community College Communications Director Michael Gross says local community colleges can be a great resource for those students.
This is really a difficult story in many ways because the public knows that for a long time the federal government has been taking a look at these for-profit schools really hard, and many of these schools have not really been doing the greatest job for their students. And in this particular case, ITT Tech had been under scrutiny since 2014. Its accreditor had some real issues as to whether or not they were providing the kind of education that the federal money was really supposed to buy. And the federal government on the 25th of August stopped the school from enrolling more students and using federal funds. And at that point, the schools just shuttered its doors. And in Massachusetts, that was between 500 and 600 students who all of a sudden had nothing. They had no transcripts. They had loans to pay. They were out the door. And the community colleges in Massachusetts, and frankly from around the country, have begun to band together because we, in fact, as a group, have the kind of technical programs in many, many cases that these students really could take advantage of, and we have the pathways to get them in and give them the opportunities. In Massachusetts, the schools are in Norwood and Wilmington. Now, certainly that's not near the Cape, but we know a lot of students in our technical high schools have moved up there, or maybe we have friends in this area who know of relatives who have students at ITT Tech who now have nothing. And we're letting the public know that we're ready to talk to them. We have worked with our compatriots within the community colleges. What the public may not know is that this year, in fact, President Cox chairs the Council of Presidents for the community colleges in Massachusetts. They've been working with Commissioner Santiago, and we want the public to know that if they know of students who have really been disenfranchised by all of this, they are out the door, they have loans, they have no transcripts, they don't know what to do, the thing to do is go to your nearest community college and come to us and say, how can I transfer in? What do I do now? In Cape Cod Community College's case, we have a whole new set of courses beginning October the 31st. Our next little Q term begins then. We also have a number of technical programs, criminal justice programs, healthcare programs, a number that these students would well have been in ITT Tech that they could come into. We can get them started. So the word for people in the Cape region that are hearing this broadcast is that, talk to your relatives, talk to friends that you know around Massachusetts. See what you can find out about this terrible situation, because we have roughly probably 600 students who now have nothing. And by the way, apparently there are some other institutions that are affiliates of ITT Tech, so this problem actually expands exponentially as there are some other smaller little private schools that are affiliated, and this is going to kind of blossom a little. So let them know that community colleges are the answer to it, and to come and ask about how to come in.
To learn more about Cape Cod Community College and its course offerings, you can visit capecod.edu. Well, students are back to school in Barnstable. To find out how the start of the school year went, Channel 18's Sarah Colvin talks with Superintendent of Schools Meg Mayo-Brown.
I understand the school year is off to an exciting start, as always.
It is. We have more than 5,000 students in Barnstable Public Schools over our 9 schools, and we were off to a great start by all accounts.
great. And so convocation went well. And so what for you? I mean, obviously this is you're getting to know the students. You've spent the summer kind of getting to know the staff and the administrators. What's kind of your process as you more kind of fully integrate now that everything is happening?
Sure. So I spent the first week getting into schools. Schools are very much into helping students understand the rituals and routines and school-wide expectations of school, which is very important because, we can't necessarily hold students accountable for good behavior unless we teach them what that means and show them the expectations. So a lot of that going on during the first week of school, and was happy to see that in all of our schools. More formally, I introduced to the school committee last week my entry plan, which is a detailed document, a way to enter a school system. It's really best practice for superintendents to engage in an entry plan process. And for my plan, what it involves is interviewing both individually and groups, both internal stakeholders and external stakeholders to the school. So that means teachers, administrators, parents, community members, other department heads in the town, in order to really develop a deep understanding of the school system. And it's a way to understand where Barnstable Public Schools have been, where they are now, and where do we want to go together collectively. And you really can't begin to propose solutions to complex challenges until you have a deep understanding of the system and until you form relationships and trust in order to do that collective work in terms of bringing Barnstable Public Schools to the next level. I've described Barnstable Public Schools as a great system. There are so many terrific things going on, and yet we're always in education talking about the next level of work. What can we do to ensure that all students have access to a high quality education? So that's our work for this year.
Absolutely. So not just kind of paying attention to what's happening, but looking and kind of anticipating the trends and anticipating what the needs of the next generation of students will be.
That's right. And as we've talked a little bit about before, our diversity is expanding in Barnstable, which I think is terrific. We're preparing our students for to be able to work and compete in a global economy when they graduate, right? When they graduate college. And so our classrooms are becoming more diverse, and I think that's terrific. As you look around college campuses, as you look around the workplace, there's diversity everywhere, and so we welcome that in Barnstable, and I think it strengthens our school system.
And I think it's so important for kids to grow up in that kind of environment and really to be on the same page where here we all are in one classroom.
Right.
We might come from different backgrounds, different countries, we
That's
might
right.
speak different languages, have different levels of income, but we're all working on this math problem together, or we're all
That's right.
reading this book together. And so there's that kind of sense of unity that's so important, especially when we have a group that can be as diverse as Barnstable can be.
That's right. There's a new mural at Barnstable High School that's in the World Language Department that represents 32 languages. It says hello in 32 languages because there are 32 languages in our school department. So again, that diversity is a strength, and I'm so pleased to have it.
Wonderful. So again, the school year off to a good start, making progress on the teachers cabinet, assembling that teachers cabinet?
Yes, we're starting to put that together. Brooke, who is the Teacher Association president, and I will be meeting soon to talk about. We hope to be able to launch that in October.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And then, of course, for the next few weeks, we had Principal Pat Clark on from Barnstable High School not too long ago, and we are going to kind of go through. There are 9 different principals in the town of Barnstable.
Yes. So I'm so excited to have each one come on your show and be able to talk a little bit about the great things that are occurring in our schools. Again, 9 schools all have a very different personality and school culture and climate, and I think it's great that the principals can talk more about that so our community can learn how exceptional our schools are.
Absolutely, and really get a sense of all of the different schools, because I think that we think so much about the high school, but there are the elementary schools, there's the intermediate school, and really everyone kind of has its own little different culture, kind of like all the different villages in Barnstable.
That's right, and Barnstable has a very unique educational model as well, where we have K-3 schools, kindergarten through 3rd grade, and then all of our students come together for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and then move on to the high school for 8th grade through 12th grade. So it's a very interesting model, and I think having those small village elementary schools builds that strong sense of community, and then fortunately we're able to pull all of our students together.
We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we will chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. We'll talk with DPW Director Dan Santos. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.